Prime-time local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Elementary students had a chance to celebrate the 40th anniversary of their school. Our Zach Kenny brings us more.
Students of St. Joe's Catholic Elementary had their annual carnival event, but this one meant a lot more.
This is our 40th anniversary, so we wanted to celebrate with something that the kids could be interactive with and have fun. So we decided to do a winter carnival, and so they get to move throughout the stations. They will get a cookie and hot chocolate inside. They have bannock around the fire over here behind us, as well as some street hockey, some sledding and tobogganing, and some Indigenous games to keep them busy. So they'll move throughout the stations all day.
For the activities set up for the students, staff had an assembly where they showed off photos of the school from around 40 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's great to be able to celebrate 40 years of being open. When they started in 1982, they had 78 students, and we're now at 287 students. So it's great to see us grow and become, the little school that has grown so much. So it's awesome to see it change and grow over the 40 years. We pulled out lots of pictures in the library so that the students could see what the building was like 40 years ago. So it's just nice to be able to share with the students how we've grown and changed over the last 40 years.
And to add to the occasion, the school invited somebody who is very special.
I was employed by the Lloydminster Catholic School Division the summer of 1982 to open up St. Joseph's School. And then in 2001, they asked me to open up St. Mary's Elementary School. And then in 2008, they asked me, along with some good people, to open up the Career Center at Holy Rosary High School. So I've been very, very blessed and to have spent 40 years working with the Lloydminster Catholic School Division.
Dale was the very first principal of St. Joe's, and for many years, the children of the school have always enjoyed the celebrations.
In the assembly, there was like a slideshow, and there were like pictures from the past, and then they did like a thank you to a bunch of people.
Students got to play their heart out for the 40th anniversary while also celebrating city history. Zach Kenny, Primetime Local News.
Parliament has been back in session for almost a month, and local MP Rosemary Falk has been busy. Stacey Calmer found out about some of the issues she'll be bringing forward in the weeks ahead.
Rosemary Falk, our local MP, is here today to join us, and we're going to catch up a little bit on how things have been going. Rosemary, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Rosemary, you have such a busy schedule, so we appreciate you coming in. But let's talk about being back in the House of Commons. What are some of the things that you've dealt with already in the past couple of weeks?
For sure, that's a great question. We have been back for a few weeks since the Christmas winter recess that we've had. The Conservative opposition has had an opportunity to bring forward 3 opposition day motions. So one of them was on bail reform, the other was on the cancellation of the carbon tax, and the third one was on capping spending, cutting government waste, wasteful spending, that type of thing. Every other party voted against it, all 3 of them, which was unfortunate. Especially, yesterday we celebrated Canadian Agriculture Day.
Right. And
our farmers do so much, so much, not only for Canada, but the world. Like, they are important in feeding the world and food security. And the carbon tax is going to go up again come April 1st, up to 14 cents a liter. And our farmers are going to be brunting that cost, which in turn the consumer at the supermarket is going to be brunting that cost as well. So everything's going to go up again. So it was disappointing to see every other party, like we were the only ones that voted for each one of those items.
So what can you do now then? Is there some way you can bring those back, or is that done?
We've brought forward cancellation of the carbon tax multiple times in different forms even. So we've even asked the government, look, if you're not going to cancel the carbon tax as a whole, cancel it on home heating, natural gas, minimum, so people can heat their home. And it's been a no every time from every party, which is unfortunate. And I know people around here have probably heard this, but the carbon tax is a tax plan, not an environment plan. So very frustrating on our end, but even just hearing from constituents who are having a hard time making ends meet, it's just unfortunate that the rest of the House isn't listening.
So when you go into the next part of the session then, is there some way that you can bring this back, or do you have plans for other things coming up in the next little while here?
For sure, that's a really good question. We will be continuing to fight for affordability for Canadians in every area. So we've even seen this with one of the latest government scandals, which is McKinsey, and seeing the overpriced consultants that have been paid millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money when we have a public service that said, look, we could have done some of that work. So continuing to find where the government is wasting money, holding them accountable for that, and making sure that we're bringing those issues to the forefront.
Now, we were talking a little bit about the size of the constituency and everything that you have to attend, and now that's going to be getting bigger coming, it could be for the next election or at least in the next year or so. So how does that change some of the things that you do and your portfolio having to switch all of this up?
For sure, that's a really good question. So redistribution happens every 10 years, so it's after the long-form census that happens. All the ridings in Saskatchewan will be shifted a little bit here or there. It has to do with population, so that each member of parliament has roughly about the same amount of constituents that they would represent. So it will be changing. It has to still be confirmed through the House, but once that's voted on, the boundaries will be changing, and it's a long process. I know, I want to say last June there was hearings in North Battleford for this constituency, and that's when people had the opportunity to come and say yay or nay, I like this, I don't like this. And really it's just going to be about meeting the new people that are being added to the riding, and we're pretty much similar across, you know, with what our economy is, with agriculture and energy. So it'll just be adding people to the Battleford's Lloydminster family.
Well, and we talked about your constituents getting in touch with you for a number of different things, and just recently there was an issue again with masks, which I kind of thought was over and done with, but I guess not. But you ended up bringing that to the floor as well. So can you tell me what happened? It was after a complaint by a local constituent as well, correct?
For sure, absolutely. So what happened is we had a constituent who had a mask exemption. They had gone to Service Canada to get services. They weren't afforded that opportunity due to the COVID regulations that ESDC, Service Canada, had implemented. So we actually had the Minister, Karina Gould, at committee, I guess would have been just this past week, Tuesday, what day is it? On Tuesday. And I had the opportunity to ask her, like, look, what's going on with this? We don't have mask mandates anywhere or in any other federally regulated department. I mean, to fly, you don't need to wear a mask. So why is this being enforced? My constituents have to drive sometimes a very far distance in order to get service. And to get there with the price of everything, price of fuel, all of this, and your time costs money, to be turned away is unacceptable. The minister actually didn't even know that the policy had changed. It was her assistant deputy who had informed us that last Friday it was changed, and the website should be changing soon. So hopefully Canadians will be able to have access to better, more efficient service sooner than later.
Oh, I know, Rosemary, one of the things we talked about when we spoke last time was people writing to you about their concerns, and you're basically saying at that time that if you don't know what's going on or what they are concerned about, you can't really do anything about it. So if people have concerns with anything regarding the government or things they'd like you to look into, what's the best way to get that information to you?
Absolutely, that's a really good question. You can call my office or even send my office an email. I have no problem too. If you live somewhere not near where our constituency office is here in Lloydminster, I have no problem coming to a town near you and hearing what you have to say. But yeah, contacting my office, phone, email, and not only to hear what your concerns are, but if there are things that you do appreciate or you do like, it's important that I hear about that so I can take that back to the floor of the House and also the caucus room.
Right. Well, we appreciate your time. I know you're so busy. So thank you so much for joining me today. And we're going to make this a regular thing. So we will be chatting again in another few weeks and keeping everybody up to date. So thanks again for joining us.
Wonderful. Thank you.
A local maternity business owner is speaking about the uncomfortable topics of motherhood in her new podcast, The Lazy Crew.
Dana Priest is a mother of 3 children and is the Chief Marketing Officer of the Lazy Baby Maternity Store in Lloydminster. The maternity store holds products anywhere from prenatal to postnatal and has a variety of clothing and toys for children.
We originally started as a production company in town, just doing like novelty t-shirts and graphic tees, and then we did a couple things for a few companies, and then I started bringing in some women's clothing and kids clothing, and then maternity clothing as well, because I just wanted to have a bit of variety in town. And I noticed that there was more of a demand on the kids and maternity side, so we decided to go full force with that, and we opened up just a straight retail store, kind of put the production stuff on the back burner, and it's been baby and maternity ever since.
As a mother herself with experience in the maternity business, Dana realized that selling baby and maternity clothes wasn't enough, and she wanted to highlight the unspoken symptoms and effects of motherhood and postpartum. That's when the Lazy Crew podcast came to light.
I always have podcasts on like in the background, and I'm listening to them as I go, and it's always the same thing, like childhood development and how to keep your kids emotionally smart and mentally smart, and all the things of postpartum depression. But I noticed that there wasn't really a side of the motherhood podcast that discussed all these other symptoms and experiences that mothers go through.
Dana wants her podcast to not only make other mothers feel comfortable with not so comfortable topics, but also reach the friends and family members of mothers who might not understand what they're going through. Listeners can stream the Lazy Baby podcast on Spotify.
The long weekend is finally here, and it's looking like we can expect some warmer temperatures heading into the weekend. Here's Shelby Clark with weather.
Thank you so much, Miss Reese Andrews. Yes, now taking a first look at your weather forecast here in the border city. Starting off quite warm. We are just sitting at -2 with that wind chill feeling closer to that -10 mark. Although we are still seeing just that -2 with that single digit and a mixture of some sun and cloud. A lot more sun peeking behind those clouds throughout the day. So hopefully everybody enjoyed it, because it is quite beautiful for today. And compared to previous days that we have seen this week, I don't think we're complaining with seeing that mixture of some sun and cloud. Switching over to temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, most spots following suit with us here in the border city, most around -1 to -2 degrees, seeing that single digit. We are seeing some plus temperatures. Of course, one of them is Edmonton. Edmonton always got to beat everybody out on the Alberta side at that 2-degree mark, and then Vegreville is just at that 0 mark. So definitely looking quite warm for today, probably seeing the warmest that we are seeing this week. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side, they are looking slightly cooler with most spots at those single digits with those minus areas, but most are around -3 to -4 degrees. We are seeing -1 up in Pearson, while it's -2 down in Macklin, and up in Isle Across, a huge switch up there with -12 as they are reaching those double digits. So definitely looking a lot cooler in Isle Across. North Battleford tonight, they will be going down to a low of -11 for their evening low. So -11, seeing those double digits that they will be expecting. Mostly cloudy conditions tonight. So condition-wise, it will be quite calm for North Battleford. I aren't expecting too high of a chance of some flurries. And then for their Saturday tomorrow, daytime high of -6, so seeing that single digit, although be prepared to see some snowfall throughout the day, definitely in the afternoon, and expecting around 2 centimeters of some snowfall for North Battleford, so make sure you got those shovels prepared. Looking at Cold Lake, they'll be going down to a low of -13, although they are reversed. They will be expecting 1 to 3 centimeters of some snowfall tonight, later on through the evening and throughout the night. So although they won't be seeing too cool of a temperature, they will be seeing worse conditions than what North Battleford is seeing. So Cold Lake, be prepared. And then tomorrow they will be seeing those flurries continue on through the morning into their day with a daytime high of -9. So cooling down for sure for their daytime high for their Saturday, but they also will be expecting some more snowfall, around 1 to 2 centimeters of it. So I think we all thought, maybe you could put away those shovels, but make sure to keep them ready. They're keeping us on the edges of our seats. For us here in the border city, we will be going down to a low of -8 for our evening low, so we will be expecting that single digit. Definitely a beautiful evening temperature, although be prepared for us here in the border city. We will be expecting around 1 to 2 centimeters of some snowfall later throughout the evening and throughout the night as we head into the weekend. But then it's going to kind of switch up for that temperature, because we will be expecting still a warm one with -6, although be prepared, we will be looking at those flurries continue on through our Saturday. So we will be warming up from what we have been seeing this week, although condition-wise, we will be seeing that light snowfall. So that may not be your favorites, but I still think it'll be quite warm for our Family Day weekend. And now ending off with a look at one of your weather photo submissions. Thank you to everyone that has submitted throughout the week. They only got one here. Thank you so much, Tara. Absolutely gorgeous shot. Love to see it. And that's all I have for now. But more coming up after the break.
While it's not going to be a super busy day for Family Day in the cattle industry, next week's sales season will be back in full swing. Our Thomas Wildman has more with this week's Cattle Report.
We're here at Greenwood Cattle, the home of the Payne family, one of the producers of the Rob Hogle Greenwood Bull Sale that will be coming up next week. And I got to talk to Jaden Payne about their Angus Bull offering that will be coming up next week.
So we've got almost 90 head of yearling bulls there next week. They'll be all anywhere from performance bulls to calving ease bulls, heifer options. And there's about 50 Simmental. They're all purebred registered bulls, about 50 Simmentals and just over 30 Angus bulls. So you're more than welcome to come anytime, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Then Wednesday night we'll have a social and kind of get together there and hopefully have a good turnout and talk bulls and cows, and it's usually a pretty good time. You bet. Like I don't think there's a better industry to really grow up in or raise a family in. So I'm the 5th generation here raising purebred cattle, and I hope one day that my kids will carry it on. I just don't think there's a better industry to really raise a family in. So.
And now we'll take a look at the market report for Northern Livestock Sales here in Lloydminster. We're going to start off with slaughter cattle. Young cows were a range of 100 to 115. Then D1 to D2 cows were a range of 95 to 110. D3 cows were a range of 85 to 90. And mature bulls were 130 to 145. Then looking at feeder cattle, steers from 900 to 1,000 pounds were 220 to 240, 800 pounds to 900 pounds were 235 to 255, 700 pounds to 800 pounds were 255 to 280, 600 pounds to 700 pounds were 280 to 300, 500 pounds to 600 pounds were 300 to 330, and 400 pounds to 500 pounds were 330 to 360. And now looking at feeder heifers, heifers from 900 to 1,000 pounds were a range of 200 to 220, 800 pounds to 900 pounds were 210 to 225, 700 pounds to 800 pounds were 225 to 233, 600 pounds to 700 pounds were 233 to 245, 500 pounds to 600 pounds were a range of 245 to 270, and 400 pounds to 500 pounds were 270 to 280. Then this past Saturday, the MJT Back to the Basics Bull Sale, which was hosted by MJT Cattle Company over at Edgerton, Alberta. They sold 4 different types of bulls at that sale. They started off with Angus, which averaged $9,096.06. F1 bulls were $7,916.67. Charolais bulls were $8,512.50, and the Herefords averaged $9,230, and the average for the sale was $8,755. And that will do it for this week's Cattle Report. For Primetime Local News, I'm Thomas Wildman.
Now here are your agriculture prices for today. Jack Kemp Elementary School played host for a 4 school-wide basketball tournament yesterday. Our Callan Dunlop reports.
The Lloydminster Public School Division is excited to have their sports tournaments return after a COVID hiatus.
For every sport in the elementary, we have different tournaments. So the kids play throughout the season, and then they have one team from each school to represent them, and we have tournaments at each of the schools. So we're hosting the boys here at Jack Kemp School, and then the girls are being hosted at Winston Churchill School.
With 4 different schools invited, as well as the parents, the key to putting on this event is collaboration.
So it's just about the organization of making sure there's space, making sure we have actually some volunteer reps from our middle schools, our scorekeeping, and just all our staff coming on board from both schools to help each other out.
The tournament teaches the kids more than just skills.
Obviously, right off the bat, they're learning their initial basketball skills, dribbling, passing, shooting, but they're also working on teamwork, sportsmanship, and other skills that they're going to need to be successful, not just in athletics, but in life in general.
This is an opportunity for kids that may not have that organized sport and to learn a new skill and hopefully develop those skills to move into middle school and to high school.
Despite the kids inevitably growing up, the Lloydminster Public School Division is confident that their tournaments will continue in the future. Callan Dunlop, Primetime, Local News.
Let's hand things back over to the one and only Shelby Clark for weather.
Thanks so much again there to the beautiful Miss Reese Andrews for that introduction. Now take another extended look at your weather forecast, and we'll be starting off with our central zone of the provinces. On the Alberta side, we are continuing those warm conditions in some of these spots here, as we are still seeing those plus temperatures, which is nice to see, as we have, are expecting to cool down later on through the weekend. Most spots are hitting that 0 to 1 degree mark, while we are seeing that 2 and 3 for Edmonton and Whitecourt, so have cooled down slightly compared to yesterday, but still seeing those single-digit plus temperatures, which is always nice to see as we are in February. Switching over to our Saskatchewan side now, they are looking slightly cooler compared to Alberta side. Most spots are matching with us here in the border city with that -3. Looking at -1 up in Cold Lake, while it is -4 down there in Saskatoon. And then Prince Albert and Melfort looking slightly cooler as they're getting closer to that double-digit point with -6 and -8. Now as you go over to our northern zone, they have cooled down quite a bit, especially for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, as they were seeing those single digits yesterday, and now they have cooled it back down to those mid-teens. -15 over in Flin Flon, while it is -18 in South End, -19 up in Wollaston Lake, and of course we are still seeing Uranium City and Stony Rapids slightly cooler conditions compared to the rest, seeing past those -20s. Now as we go back to Alberta side here in our northern zone, still this area here with these spots continue to kind of slightly warmer conditions compared with the rest. Looking at that 1 degree mark in Grand Prairie, as they are still seeing that plus temperature, the rest have cooled down quite a bit. -2 in Slave Lake, while it's -9 in Peace River, and the rest are seeing those double digits. Fort McMurray in those mid-teens with -14, and then of course we have High Level and Fort Chipewyan now hitting around that -20 mark. But now as we go over to our southern zone, there we go, they continue to beat out everybody with these temperatures. Of course, they are seeing slightly warmer conditions, especially for Lethbridge and Medicine Hat at that 4 and 5 degree mark. Looking at that 3 in Calgary, and Banff and Coronation slightly cooler, with just -1 in Banff. Coronation continues to continue that pattern with those cool conditions compared with the rest, now with around -5, but they were looking slightly cooler yesterday, so they have warmed up slightly for today. Going back over to our Saskatchewan side, they have warmed up as well for today, as they are, although most spots are seeing those minus areas, they are just seeing the coolest -6 in Kindersley, -5 over in Yorkton, while most are around that -1 and -2 degree mark, and Estevan is at that 1 degree mark. So they aren't looking too bad over on this side either way, because they are still seeing, although with those minus areas, they are still seeing those single digits. Can't really complain. You're not quite hitting those -20s for today, so I think everybody's still enjoying it out there. And now let's look at some overnight temperatures in some of our surrounding areas as we head into our Family Day long weekend. We are looking at some double digits for certain areas, with Isle Cross especially, as they are seeing slightly cooler for today. They are still sitting around that -12 mark. For tonight, they will be going down to low of -19. And of course, with those conditions, that little bit of snow later on in the evening, and with that wind chill, they will be feeling around -25 to -30 degrees. Meadow Lake and Bonnyville will also be seeing those double digits with a low of -11 to -13 degrees. Also expecting those high chances of some flurries, even with Meadow Lake expecting around 3 centimeters of some snowfall. And then we got that low of -9 that Provost and Paradise Hill will be seeing tonight, and they are going to be expecting a much more nicer evening with that temperature, and also condition-wise they will be seeing a calm evening. Looking at our hourly forecast for our Saturday tomorrow, I was saying that we were going to be slightly cooling down. We were hoping we were going to be seeing nice temperatures for the weekend, but starting off, we will be already cooling down to that -8, and as we go through the evening, although we will be reaching that -6 for our daytime high, going through the evening Saturday night, we will be hitting that -13 around 10 p.m. So just be prepared, because we also will be seeing that snowfall. Around a 90% chance of that snowfall, and just be prepared for around 1 to 3 centimeters for tomorrow, and that will continue into Sunday. And expecting 6 centimeters on Sunday with around -7. So expecting nice temperatures, although condition-wise, prepare to have your shovels ready. And then Monday, be prepared even more because we will be going down to that -12 and that low of -25. That's all I have for now. Arisa Andrews will have more news coming up for you after the break.
I'm happy to be joined here today with Shannon McEwen with the Lloyd Mall. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having us, Abby.
Of course. Now, the Lloyd Mall isn't just a shopping center. They hold numerous events, including one coming up on Tuesday from 2 to 3 called Family Fun in partnership with Connecting Parents Supporting Families. Can you tell me a little bit about what the event entails?
Connecting Parents and Supporting Families is a local not-for-profit, and Lloyd Mall has partnered with them on this event. We wanted to offer, obviously next week is winter break, so we wanted to offer families a family-friendly event that they could come out, bring their kids to, and so we partnered with Connecting Parents and Supporting Families. They agreed to it right away, and they've put together some fantastic programming for next Tuesday.
That sounds awesome and a great way for families to get together. Now, when they come out to this event, what can they expect?
You can expect to come dressed in your favorite superhero costume or princess costume. There's going to be games, crafts, and story time. So some of the crafts, it will be superhero masks that the kids will make, shields, and some Spider-Man bags to take away. And then we have some beautiful princess wands for our princesses coming out to attend.
That's amazing, and I'm sure kids are just going to absolutely love that. The mall holds a lot of events similar to this. Why do you think it's important to hold these events opposed to it just being a shopping center?
Really connects the community, right? It's those community connections, and I think just being in Lloyd, it's such we all really support one another, and I think it's just really valuable to collaborate with our local non-for-profits and help support, just the wonderful programs that they put on, but also connect with other businesses in our local area, and obviously, again, family-friendly events. That really is the community does look forward to them. This is a free event to attend. And then we're also, as you mentioned, we are a shopping center. So February 21st, we are also holding a one-day gift card sale as well. So added incentive to come out and attend.
That sounds awesome. And finally, what are some technical aspects people need to know? You said it was free, but do people still need to get a ticket?
So you can go online to our lloydmall.com website, and we do have a booking link under events. So it is book by appointment just to reserve your spot. And then that way that helps us with planning purposes on how many families to expect. There is limited spots, and so we do note that. And then the other important information would be the spots are based on one parent and 2 children, and adults must attend the event with their children. We do state that on the booking link, or they can find that on the Lloyd Mall Facebook page as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. It's amazing that there are events like this offered at the Lloyd Mall in partnership with so many great non-for-profit organizations here in Lloyd. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Abby.
Coming up tomorrow, it is the 6th annual Todd Gustafson Memorial Battle of the Badges. Members of the Lloydminster RCMP, they're going to face off against members of the Lloydminster Fire Department. And the Lloydminster RCMP, they have won this game for the past 5 years. Will they do it again? Come out to the Civic Centre tomorrow to find out. And the big winner with this hockey game is the community, because admission is by donation. If you make a cash donation, that's going to support mental health initiatives through Project Sunrise and the Lloydminster Region Health Foundation, or your admission could be a donation of a non-perishable food item, and those items are going to go to the Olive Tree and the Salvation Army here in Lloydminster. There's going to be a silent auction, there's going to be raffles, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Doors open tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Puck drop is 7:15, so head out to the Civic Centre for the Battle of the Badges. Coming up on Monday, it's Family Day, and the City of Lloydminster is very excited to host Winterfest this Family Day. There's free activities that you and your family can enjoy. You can head over here to the Lloydminster Golf and Curling Centre to take part in family curling. If you head to the Lloydminster Museum and Archives, you've got an opportunity to make crafts in their art studio. They're also going to have heritage activities. If you head to the Service Sports Centre, you've got an opportunity to sit on a Zamboni, take a selfie. There's going to be bouncy houses. There's going to be live entertainment from the Prairie Dogs and so much more, including a chance to go skating. You can also go skating at Bud Miller Park. They're going to have a skating party with a DJ. Plus, if you head to Bud Miller Park, there's going to be horse-drawn wagon rides, snowshoeing, sledding, so much more. Admission is free. Check out all the details for this Monday's Winterfest on the city's website, lloydminster.ca. And coming up next Friday, February 24th at the Vermilion Regional Centre, they're hosting a family movie night. It's a chance for you to see Disney's The Rescuers Down Under. You'll find more details on the Town of Vermilion website. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
Joining us today for this week's entertainment panel is the classic Abby St. John. As always, so glad to have you in studio today.
Of course, we say it every week, but I'm always happy to be here. It's always the best day of the week, for sure.
Oh, yeah, everybody's favorite day of the week. Here we go.
And not just because it's Friday.
Yeah, no, this is why. I mean, this is why people love Fridays in Lloydminster. For this panel, let's be honest.
Yeah.
TGIF.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, we got some good topics on the go though. For this week, we got some projects, some promising projects that are coming up. And you know, starting off, I think a lot of people are talking about it because there was one factor that was thrown in this one with The Little Mermaid.
Yep.
And then we got another teaser. So I think a lot of people were excited because, of course, we were on that first one for a while that, you know, you saw her singing like part of your world swimming through, and it's like, okay, you got to see what she looked like, but you're like, I want to see some of these other characters. So with this other teaser, we got to see Ursula.
Yes, it was the first look that we've gotten of Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. And when the movie was first released, the rumor that it was her circulated for a very long time before it was actually confirmed. So actually seeing her, even though it was only for a couple of seconds, but hearing that iconic laugh that Ursula has, that cackle, it was very promising. I think Melissa McCarthy was one of the best choices for this character itself. And then, of course, we saw more of Halle Berry singing Part of Your World as well, which was spectacular.
Yeah, you can't complain with that.
Her voice is so enchanting. Again, another perfect casting. Now throughout this little teaser trailer, it's only about 31 seconds, but we saw some kind of iconic scenes from the first one where she's swimming up to the surface, and we don't see above the surface, but you can, if you pause it right there, you can see kind of lights flashing, which could show when Eric and his crew on the ship are shooting off fireworks. We saw a scene from Kiss the Girl, which is an iconic scene, and that was between her and Prince Eric, who is played by Jonah Hauer King. That's going to be interesting. Obviously, we know if you've seen the animated, they don't actually kiss in that, but they definitely do tease it a lot. Unfortunately, we did not see Javier Bardem's King Triton, or we kind of saw a glimpse of Flounder, but other ones like Sebastian, we didn't see yet. So we're still holding out for that, but the movie's coming out May 26th, which is very, very soon, and I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be fantastic. And yeah, I'm just excited to see what they do with it and, you know, how they bring their own feel to these iconic characters.
Yeah, and with her singing, like, it's already so excellent. Like, hearing it, like, no one's complaining, like I was saying before, getting that a little bit more in the second teaser. I'm so tired of these 30 seconds also. Like, I think everybody is. But I think it's kind of cool to keep you anticipating and being like, okay, you'll get some more information soon. Just wait on it, because this is, like, you know, a big thing, like especially with seeing a huge thing with when it came out first with that teaser and finding out with Halle Berry's with the representation and all that, looking at all the different diversity they got going on in this movie. So I think it's going to be really great. A lot of people are really excited. Melissa McCarthy, I already knew was going to be excellent for that, but hearing that cackle is like, wow. I think it's going to be a good one. But we got something else that's going to be coming up here. Final trailer for Creed 3.
Yes.
Yeah, and that one looks like it's going to be intense. Of course, Creed movies are always intense, but you know, we got Michael B. Jordan, Jonathan Majors in the movie and everything. I think it's going to get your heart racing.
Yes, I would agree with you. I personally have not seen any of the Creed movies. But it looks really, really good, and it makes me want to watch the other two first before this one comes out. And it's also Michael B. Jordan's debut as the director. He directed this movie, and Ryan Coogler also helped write the screenplay for it. I'm pretty sure he had some big part in writing the movie. But like this final trailer, we see Michael B. Jordan's Adonis Creed. He faces off against Damian Anderson, who's played by Jonathan Majors. And we find out in the trailer that they are childhood best friends. They grew up as brothers, basically. But they also ran into a lot of trouble. And it seems that Damian went one way and Adonis went the other way. So now that Anderson, he's out of jail, he wants to get back into boxing. And he's vicious. He is savage. And of course, Creed, he's no longer boxing anymore, but this kind of brings him out of retirement. He still has unanswered questions. So he goes back into the ring to stop him. And I think that's going to be very, very intense. Like you said, it'll get your heart racing for sure. Because, you know, they have that history. Plus, then, you know, he is this savage fighter, and Creed has to go up against him to stop him, to take him down several pegs, because it's kind of almost going to ruin everything that he built up over the last couple movies. No Sylvester Stallone. This movie, which is a shame, because I love Sylvester Stallone. It's coming out March 3rd, so that's very, very soon. I think this is going to be a good movie. Tessa Thompson is also obviously back as Creed's wife, so that's going to be interesting. But the trailer was really cool. It kind of showed the training montages mirroring each other between Creed and Damian. So it kind of mirrors back and forth with each other. So I thought the trailer in itself was very well done. And it really, really makes you want to see it, and it makes you very excited for it.
And seeing just like, you know, shirtless, good-looking men, I might just watch it for that reason alone, honestly. But that's all the time we have for this week's entertainment panel. So once again, thank you so much for joining us today, Abby.
Of course.
That's all the time we have for you today on Primetime Local News. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.